guys, it's Peyton, and today I'm going to be talking about my favorite books of the year of 2018. These are not all books that only came out in 2018, it's just books that I personally read this year and my absolute favorites. I have 17 on this list. It would have been nice if I picked out 18 because then it would be like top 18 books of 2018, but apparently I wanted to do 17, so okay. Before I get started with this video, I actually have an announcement. Me and one of my great booktube friends, Brittany from Brittany and Books, have decided to do a year-long read-along in the year of 2019, so who and what are we reading? We're doing a MAASALONG, which is for Sarah J. Maas's books. The main reason that we wanted to do this was because we both wanted to reread Throne of Glass series really bad. I just wanted to because I finished the series this year, and I really want to re-experience the whole series. It's just been a long time since I've read the first books. I haven't reread any of the books, and I really just want to do that for myself. I'm so excited to do that. So the plan is to read one of her books every single month, and I will leave information down below on which books start off for each month, but it really just goes in order, like Throne of Glass for January, Crown of Midnight for February, Heir for March, and it just keeps going. And then we'd be switching off to the A Court of Thorns of Roses series. The only thing is Kingdom of Ash is going to have a 2-month reading time because it's massive. And we do plan to be having live shows discussions every single month, which I'm really excited about because I never did book reviews for these books, so it would be a kind of way to get a book review. So if you're interested in tagging along, let us know, and I really hope you guys will participate. Now to get into the good stuff, my favorite books of the year, let's go. At number 17, we have Unwind by Neal Shusterman. This is the first book in the Unwind series. I really enjoy this book. It was such a fun ride. It's basically about this world where when you're a teenager, your parents can decide whether or not they want to have you unwound. And being unwound is basically they pull apart all of your body parts and donate them to people that need them. And they use every bit of your body. But the crazy people behind this think that you're still alive when this happens. So they just want to get rid of their children, basically, the ones that are annoying, and give their body parts to people that need them. Like if they need new eyes or a leg, they easily can with the Unwound. It's very terrible, but this book follows 3 main characters who are about to be unwound and they don't want to be, other than one of them. One of them actually wants to be. It is a messed up book, but I thought it deserved to be on this list because it was such a fun read and I read it so quickly, and it definitely was one of my favorites of the year. For book number 16, I have The Afterlife of Holly Chase by Cynthia Hand. I read this just recently for Christmas because it is a retelling of A Christmas Carol. This is another one that just was so entertaining for me, and it's definitely a book that I want to reread every single year just because it really got me into the Christmas spirit and reminded me the important parts of Christmas, what it really means to be a part of Christmas. And sometimes you might not be like reading the most profound book or whatever, but it's so entertaining, and that's what this book was for me. It was really entertaining, so I couldn't help but put it on this list. I also need to say that this numbered list, from the least of the best to the best of the best, is so not accurate. I tried my best to put them in like which one I enjoyed more categories, but really, like, I don't even agree with this list. Like, I just can't decide. For number 15, we have Scythe by Neal Shusterman. Another Neal Shusterman book is on this list. Yay. Once again, he just has created such an interesting plot that I haven't really read before. This book series is about this world where no one naturally dies anymore. It just doesn't happen. But as you know, overpopulation can be a big bad thing because resources are taken up, and what do? Like, people need to die. Like, you can't just conquer death and everything will be okay. People have to die. So this community has created these things called scythes, which are given the job of killing people, and they decide which people they want to kill, and they call it gleaning to give it that word of like, oh, it's not actually killing, it's killing them, whatever. And our 2 main characters are put under one of the scythes as apprentices, and they are learning to be a scythe, but only one of them can be a scythe and the other one is not gonna win. But like, do they want to be a scythe? Do they not want to? Like, what do you do? It was just another crazy ride, and I couldn't help but put it on my favorites list of the year, and I cannot wait for the 3rd book in this trilogy. At number 14, we have Eliza and Her Monsters by Francesca Zappia. I just finished reading this last night, and I just feel it needs to be on this list because it was such a relatable read for me. It's about this girl who writes this extremely popular webcomic that millions of people read online, but she does this anonymously, so no one knows who creates it, but it's her, so yeah. And one day there's a new boy at school, and he is basically a huge fan of her webcomic, but he has no idea that he's talking to the creator of it. And he writes fan fiction, and she reads his fan fiction, and it spurs off from there. It was such a great read for me on the relatable aspects. I did have like one or two problems with it, but it was still really great for me to read, so it still makes it on this list. It just wasn't absolutely perfect, but it still makes it on this list. At number 13, we have Misery by Stephen King. This book was a thrill. If you know anything about Stephen King, he writes horror, and I've been wanting to read this one for ages, and I finally got to it this year, and I have a whole book review up for that, so I will put a card up for that if you want to watch it. It's basically about this best-selling novelist who one day gets kidnapped by his biggest fan, but he's injured, so he can't really leave her house, and maybe she doesn't want him to leave her house. Ooh. She's basically crazy, and she doesn't like the way he ends his last book, and she wants him to rewrite it for her. And throughout this book, he just keeps getting more and more trapped. It's just absolutely terrifying, and I love reading like something about writers. I love books about writers in general, and Stephen King writes a lot of those. But this one was absolutely horrifying, just being kept in one room. Your legs are broken, you can't leave. This girl is crazy. She literally wants to kill you sometimes. I was so into this book. Like, I could not stop reading it. I was nonstop turning the pages. It definitely is one of my favorites of the year. At number 12 is What If It's Us by Becky Albertalli and Adam Silvera. I read this one recently and I absolutely loved it. I got a million tabs. This is a beautiful gay romance between Arthur and Ben, and they meet one day at a post office. They don't get each other's names or any of the information, but they kind of like, ooh, I like that guy. I kind of want to kiss him. They don't have the information, so they go on a journey of finding each other, and when they finally find each other, they have a series of failing first dates, and it's bad, but they keep redoing them, and it just ends up being such a cute little romance. I was squealing while reading this book, so if it wasn't on my favorites list, I would be lying to you. It's so cute, and it made me so freaking happy, and I read this during like a 4-day power outage, and it kept me going. At number 11 is Brightly Burning by Alexa Dunn. I read this book in like 1 or 2 days. It was so entertaining. It is a retelling of Jane Eyre, but in space. That is kind of like the selling point of this book. I've never read Jane Eyre. I just didn't really know anything about Jane Eyre, but I still found a lot of enjoyment in this book. Basically about a girl who dreams of being a teacher. She's on a spaceship that's kind of dying, and she can't really get off the spaceship. But then one day there's this crazy freaking spaceship called the Rochester, and she gets on it to teach. And it's a very mysterious ship with weird things going around, but she gets to teach a little girl, and it's her dream come true. And there's this cute guy, and they like to read together. And I'm not explaining this well, but it had a lot of cute feelings. I like reading about readers, and I just admired her want to teach people. Like, I liked that whole part of it, and I'm not really a sci-fi person, but I definitely enjoyed delving into this world of it, and I want to continue on with Alexa Dunn's works because I like it. At number 10, we have Wonder by RJ Palacio. I finally read this. Brittany was so happy. This is her favorite book ever. I actually got to meet RJ Palacio too as well this year, so that was really great. This book was so heartwarming. And it's about this little boy named Augie who has a facial deformity, and he's never gotten to go to school because of it, because of all the surgeries he's had. But this year he finally gets to go to, I think, the 5th grade. And obviously he's going to suffer a lot of bullying and like dark times, but it's also very much a coming of age story. It was just such a great story, and I love little Augie so much. So definitely had to be on the favorites of the year. The 9th book on the list is Simon vs. the Homo Sapiens Agenda by Becky Albertalli. I read read and loved this book this year, as well as the film that came out. It is about a guy named Simon who is in the closet for being gay, and he has an online message thing going on with this guy named Blue. That's his code name. They don't know who each other are. And one day, someone from his school sees their emails and kind of tries to blackmail him into doing what he wants, or he'll tell the whole school that he is gay. So he's flipping out over this, but he's also having the most adorable little love story ever happening for him, and I loved that so much. I had so many cute feelings with this, and it needed to be on the list. The 8th book is Warcross by Marie Lu. This book is about a near future world of virtual reality glasses taking over the world, basically. Everybody uses them. They all use it to play this game called Warcross, and one day our main character hacks herself into the biggest tournament of the entire world, and everybody knows that she hacked herself in there, and the creator of the game Warcross contacts her to take on a virus that is trying to attack the whole virtual reality thing. I don't think I explained that right, but this book I did not think I was gonna like, and then I absolutely loved it. It was my first book of the year. Sadly, the second book of this was on my worst books of the year list, but this one is really good, so at number 7 is Girl Made of Stars by Ashley Hearing Blake. I read this book so quickly, it is very short, but whatever. This book is about a girl named Mara who has a twin brother named Owen who gets accused of raping one of her best friends, and this is her coping with the thought that someone she loves so much could do something so terrible. It's such a dark story, but it's something I feel that needs to be read by people if you're able to take on these type of subjects. It's a very important story in my opinion, and it's heartbreaking and emotional, but I love me some emotional stories, so this book was definitely a book that I loved so much this year, and I couldn't help but put it on the list. The 6th book is The Hate You Give by Angie Thomas. I actually have a live show discussion with Brittany and Julia, which I will put a card up for if I remember. We did a book and a movie analysis sort of thing. This book is about a girl named Star who witnesses her best friend getting shot by a police officer even though he was unarmed. It's definitely an extremely powerful story, and I loved it so much this year. I read it not that long ago, and it was such an important read for me, and I felt that it's one of those books that everyone needs to read. I just love the characters in the story, and I can't get enough of this book. I own 3 copies now. The 5th book is A Very Large Expanse of Sea by Tahira Mafi. This book was a good one. This is about a girl named Shireen who is a Muslim teenager during 2002, which is right after 9/11, which you can imagine is a very hard time for someone like her to live in America, so much discrimination and everything like that. And it's really her fighting through all of that discrimination and then also having such a lovely little romance that I ship so freaking hard. It is a pure book on just little romance, but there's so much darkness on the racism and everything. Like, it was so sad. I could not stand those people that were that terrible. No, read this book. Like, it's one of my faves, if you can't tell. The 4th book is Children of Blood and Bone by Tomi Adeyemi. This book is tabbed to heavens. It's a lot, and it's been a while since I've read this, so I've not fully remembering all of my love for it, but I know I love this book. I want to reread it just so I can re-experience all the amazingness. The characters in this is so phenomenal, and it's such a diverse book because almost every single character in here is black, and they're all such powerful characters. It's a fantasy world where magic has been taken away, but Zaylee, one of the main characters, is trying to fight to get it back, and she comes across the prince and the princess, the daughter and son of the king that took away the magic. Their paths interconnect, and it's such an adventure, really. I absolutely loved this book. I love fantasy in general, and this one was just a breath of fresh air. It was different, and I highly enjoyed it. At number 3, I'm actually going to be talking about an entire series because I've just experienced a new and intense love for it this year, and that is the Shatter Me series by Tahira Mafi. I reread these books, and I've loved these books. I am in love with them. They are such amazing reads. I know there's some haters, but I do not hate on this at all. It's so freaking good. It's so powerful. The character development, the characters, the romance, the story, it makes me happy. This series is about a girl named Juliet who has a killer touch, and if she touches you, you basically die, and she is currently locked in an asylum until she is released by the people that locked her in there, basically. And they want to use her as a weapon, and she has to figure out if she wants to be this weapon or if she wants to take matters in her own hands and fight for what she wants and believes in and be who she wants to be Juliet. Like, I just freaking love Juliet Ferrars. I love this series. It's not stopping. I love it. So now we are down to my second favorite book of the year, which you might be able to guess. Like, my first two slots, you'll probably be like, it's either one of those. You just don't know which one I'm gonna put first and second. I love them almost exactly the same. So it is Queen of Air and Darkness by Cassandra Clare. Cassandra Clare is one of my queens of authors. I love her so much. She is such an amazing writer. I love meeting her. I love reading her work. I love her. Okay. Her characters are just so absolutely amazing. I love reading her stories. They're just fantastic. And this was the third and final book in the Dark Artifices series. And like, it was a finale, but we all know that she has 20 billion other series that she has planned in the Shadowhunter world, so it would set things up for the other series, and I loved it so much. I'm ready for more books by her. Literally, I hope that I get old and she's still like freaking making some books, like forever. Can she be immortal? Like, just write some books for me forever. If I didn't include this in this video, that would have been a massive lie. Like, this is beautiful. And my absolute favorite book of the entirety of 2018 has to go to Kingdom of Ash by Sarah J. Maas. If you can't just tell from the massive amount of tabs I have in here, I loved this book so much. This series has meant so much to me. I've been reading it for so long, and this was the final conclusion of the series. I couldn't. Like, I just could not feel anything but love for it. Like, I just loved it so much. I just felt like this conclusion was perfectly executed. I didn't find anything like massively wrong with it. I loved it so much. The characters mean so much to me. I just want nothing but happiness for them, and this book just delivered on so many levels. It was so epic and amazing, and I can't really decide if this is my favorite one or if Queen of Shadows is my favorite one in the series. I don't know, but it's definitely a favorite of the series. So this video is kind of long. I'm going to go ahead and end it. Tell me down below if you have some favorite books of the year that are in this video, or if you have some other books. Just let me know what your favorite reads of the year were. Like this video, comment down below. Have a good day. Please subscribe. Make sure to follow all my social medias, which are linked down below, and go click the bell button, which is right by the subscribe button, which you should have already clicked, and goodbye.